Hari Om. Let us chant the first 10 verses of chapter 8. Arjuna Uvacha Kim Tad Brahma Kim Adhyatmam Kim Karma Purushottama Adhibhutam Cha Kim Proktam Adhidaivam Kim Uchyate Adhiyajna Katham Kotra Dehesmin Madhusudana Prayana-kale cha katham Jneyyosi niyatatmabhihi Shri Bhagavan-uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Svabhavodhyatma-muchyate Bhuta-bhavodbhavakaraha Visarga-karma-sanhitaha Adhibhutam Ksharo Bhavaha Purushachadhidaivatam Adhiyajñohamevatra Dehe Dehabhritambara Antakale cha mameva Smaran Mukta Kalevaram Yaprayati Samadbhavam Yati nastyatra samshayaha Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam Tyajatyante kalevaram Tam tame vaiti kaunteya Sada tad bhava bhavitaha Tasma sarveshu kaleshu Mamanusmara yudhyacha Mayat pitamano buddhihi Mame vaishyasya samshayaha Abhyasa yoga yuktena Cetasa nanyagaminha Paramam purusham divyam Yati parthanu chintayan Kavim Purana Manushasitaram Anoraniyam Samanusmaredhyaha Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat Prayana Kale Manasachalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaiva Bhruvor Madhye Pranamaveshya Samyak Satam Param Purushamupaiti Divyam
Tamastu Mavid Vishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We continue the study of verse number 5. Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaf prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. And he who casting off the body goes forth thinking of me alone at the time of death, he attains my being. There is no doubt about this. Whoever casting off the body, any individual at the time of death, casting off the body implies that period of death, the time of death. At the time of death, if the person goes forth thinking of me alone, he will come to me, there is no doubt about it. So, obviously here he is talking about a person who has not attained moksha. Not only he has not attained moksha, but he has been on the path also. Who is he talking about here? He is talking about a person who has been on the path but not attained moksha. A person, a individual who is not at all in the path, we understand that he goes through reincarnation again and again and again. Punaha api, punaha api. We have seen that already. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam. Punaha api means again and again they go through the cycle of birth and death. Cycle of birth and death implies getting into one body, living in that body for a while and leaving that body to take up another body. So what is birth and death? Birth is entering into a body. Death is leaving that body. So between entering and leaving, you stay in that body for a while. And when you are staying in that body for a while, obviously the body is in an environment and it will develop very many associations. All that is part and parcel of the body. One way is you can thoroughly get involved in that and not understand that you have been traveling. Again, I repeat, one way is, which is what most of the human beings do, is they get stuck to that particular body and whatever happens around that body, missing that they have been traveling. You say, sir, but we don't remember, no. We don't understand, no. How do I convince myself that I have been traveling? There are enough arguments, there are enough reasons that we have studied already to prove that there is this travel that is happening. So, Vedanta talks about two types of people. One set of person where the travel has stopped. Another set, travel continues. Those who have attained the Jivan Mukti, the travel stops. There is no more. They don't travel anymore. They don't get into another body again. And also Vedanta, the Shastra talks about those who keep getting into bodies again and again. Okay, now there is the third category. What is the one person is fully involved in the world, another person is liberated. And then there is a third category. Vedanta class students belong to the third category. Here, we are neither fully involved in the world, nor we know for sure that liberation is not going to happen. I'm not saying sure, it should happen. So that is also not going. So where do we put what happens to this category? What happens to them? He says, if you have done the sadhana rightly, if you have been following the spiritual recommended disciplines rightly, at the time of death, at the time of leaving the body, you will be thinking of me only. Since you will be thinking of me only at the time of death, you will get to me. Atra na samshayah. There is no doubt about this. There is absolutely no doubt. There is absolutely no doubt at all, because you come to me. We saw already that there so many interpretations of this verse is literal interpretation. Literal means all that you got to do is what? Think of God at that time. You will attain. You will come to moksha. How can a sensual, materialistic, selfish, self-centered, attached, disturbed person think of God? And the truth is they think. And what do they think of God? That we saw already. Either they will be asking for God for make sure that something better happens to me. Artha Bhakta, Artharthi Bhakta, Jignasu Bhakta. They will be asking God for something, but one thing for sure they will not ask. What? One thing they will not ask for sure. What? Coming to you and merging with you will not be asked. Coming to you and merging with you will not be asked. Why? Because if you have not asked for it right through, how can you ask for it at the last minute? How can it happen? It won't happen like that. So therefore, that interpretation is not something that is very reasonable, valid, applicable. So we don't. So we say that is a reasonable interpretation. A person doing the spiritual path, the sadhana, very important here. That's where I said we'll continue the study here. Very important for us to understand what is moksha. What is liberation? One type of moksha is, you remember the 4 words? Salokyam, Sarupyam, Samipyam, Sayujyam. Moksha, different schools talks about moksha in these 4 words. Some people talk about moksha as Salokyam. You go to that, you live in the same area. You live in the same area. You may not even see God at any point of time. But the very fact that you are living in the same area of God is moksha. Because if you are living in the same area as God is living, everything is, there will not be a power cut. There will not be a power cut. The roads will be cleaned and washed every day. You go there, you will not think you are in India only, isn't it? That is salokya. One interpretation of moksha is salokyam. Inhabit the same loka. Go to Vaikunta. Go to Shivaloka. Go to some loka. And that living in that loka itself is moksha. This is a little bit technical, we have to understand. Second type of moksha that people talk about is salokyam, samipyam. Samipyam means first row you will be sitting. That's all. You will be sitting in the samipyam means you are in the first row, but still you have not yet fully. So salokyam. Then salokyam is sarupyam. Sorry, the order, the sequence is salokyam. From salokyam it is sarupyam. Sarupyam means you see God. That's it. Having seen God is attaining moksha. Having seen God, what happens after? You will continuously keep seeing God. For eternities, you will keep seeing God only. You cannot not see God. That is another, from Salokya, it becomes to Sarupya. From Sarupya, it goes to Samipya. Here, Krishna, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, take it to the ultimate and say, Sayujyam alone is moksha. Rest are all different preparatory stages for moksha. Krishna is not dismissing Salokyam. Krishna is not dismissing Sarupyam. Krishna is not dismissing Samipyam. He is saying all these are different preparatory stages for Sayujyam. For moksha comes only when you attain Sayujyam. In this chapter, he is talking about all the preparatory stages. That's why he's going to say again and again and again, prayana kale, antakale, prayana kale, antakale. You feel like saying, oh, so much he's talking about the time of death, sir. We will move on to the next. We'll move on to the next chapter. Why you want to talk about the time of death and all now? You follow? Therefore, what is moksha? That understanding of what moksha, if it is not clear, down the line, your pursuit will not be clear because you do not know what you are pursuing. You have no clarity on what you are pursuing. And even amongst those who come and study Bhagavad Gita, even amongst those who study the Upanishads and all that, moksha as sayujyam, very difficult to accept. Moksha means sayujyam, the ultimate merger where the two dissolves. Theoretically, logically, intelligently, we may approve of it and we may talk about it as very good. But when it comes to practice, when it comes to the sadhana, when it comes to the practice, nothing will happen. Why? Because that conviction in that sayujyam is moksha doesn't happen. So, throughout the Gita, he goes on trying to give us conviction in understand what moksha is first. You got to understand what moksha is. Every school comes and gives you their own definition of moksha. At the end of the day, you are confused. Which one to believe, which one not to believe, whom to take, whom not to take, what to accept, what not to accept. Lot of confusion. Prayana kale, the word prayana kale is an indication of reincarnation. Reincarnation implies that you have not yet attained sayujyam. Reincarnation implies there is a subtle body there. The causal body, subtle body is still there. As long as the causal body, subtle body is there, movement will happen from one body to another body. The quality of the subtle body may differ. It may be very refined. It may be very beautiful. It may be very fantastic. But still, the causal body, subtle body exist. As long as the causal, subtle body exists, movement will happen from one body to another body, one sharira to another sharira. Depending on the resultant, you will take up a particular sharira. Be in the sharira for a while and then move out. Why you cannot be stuck in one sharira? Why you can't be stuck in one sharira? You can never be stuck in one sharira because the sanchita vasanas, sanchita will, first of all, when you get stuck in, you cannot get stuck in one body in the first place. Why? Because it's very limited. You can be in that body only for a period of time. That's it. Who fixed the time? How long you will be in the body? That and all we don't know. But only thing we know is very sure. For what? You come into a body, you can be in that body only for a period of time. What happens after that? Another body. It means that which brought you into this body is still continuing. Therefore, it will take you to another body. What is that? The combination of causal body and subtle body. As long as that subtle body is there, if we say subtle body is there, what is implied is causal body. If we say subtle body is there, that subtle body will necessitate the movement from one body to another body. What is thinking of God means? First is understanding moksha. Two things that you have to be very clear. First is what is definition of moksha. Second is what is thinking of God means. Thank God he has already explained all that. He is not asking us to do any guesswork. He has already explained all that. What is thinking of God means the four types of devotees. Remember that. What is thinking of God means the four types of devotees. Artaha, Artharthi, Jignasu, Jnani. The four types of devotees. That is very clear as far as what is thinking of God means. And what is moksha means? Moksha means there is no necessity for any more body. It may be it doesn't matter in which loka you are. You will not be in need of a body. Why you will not be in need of a body? Because you have eliminated the subtle body and the causal body. That which is the product of action or that which is the product of wrong action is eliminated by right action. What remains is moksha. What is left behind is moksha. So, what do we understand here? We understand moksha as a destination where there is no necessity for any more birth. What we mean by birth is, birth means body. Are you able to follow? Birth means body is what is meant as birth. That you don't need any more bodies. When the causal and subtle bodies themselves are extinct, he becomes one with Brahman. This verse points to the culmination of that individual's life. Because while living, he understands that he is Brahman. Therefore, loss of the body is not losing. When you need a body to be conscious of. When the body goes, who will be conscious of Brahman? That's the question. See, all these questions, the person who is aspiring for moksha will have this. We will not have all this because you need a body to be conscious of. At the time of death, body goes away. Meaning, it means, will that experience of enlightenment also go away? Because without body, you cannot be conscious. Just as in deep sleep, you are not conscious. Even though everything is around you, you are not conscious. In coma, everything is around you. You are not conscious. When the dead body is there, it is not conscious. Therefore, leaving the body means leaving consciousness, experience, everyday experience. Leaving the body is leaving consciousness. Now the question is, okay, I'm doing everything, attaining moksha, all that. How will I know that I am enlightened after dying also? Ravi, we will not have all this problem. Our worry is only what? Thyroid problem is our problem, isn't it? Rest and all, who's worried about whether conscious of enlightenment after death? I'm not even worried now. Why will I worry after? Why will I worry about it after death? Isn't it? Why will I worry? Why will I worry after death and all? But for that seeker, Krishna is talking to a serious seeker who has this doubt, who has this query. So he says, the one who has understood while living that you are Brahman will also understand that I am Brahman even after leaving the body. That understanding that I am Brahman will not go. But this is illogical, no, sir. Who will know that? Who's reporting that? Who is talking about that? Pramanam. We take it on the authority. What is authority? The authority of the Shastra and the authority of the one who has attained that state. Therefore, based on that Pramanam only, we are saying that this is how it works. If you have to, you have not attained Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means liberation. Liberation now, you have not attained. You started the spiritual practices. You started the spiritual sadhana. You continued in the sadhana, whatever be it. And then after a while, you do some sadhana, you do some unselfish activities, you do a kind of mixed life. Sometimes spiritual sadhana, sometimes unselfishness, sometimes selfishness. All your actions are mixed nature. What happens then? You will still get it. You will still come to me. Madbhavam. Na samshayah. You will come to my being, and there is no doubt, about it. Assurance. There is no doubt about it is a strong authoritative declaration. Again, I repeat. There is no doubt about it is a strong authoritative declaration based on one's own authority. Therefore, he says, there is no doubt about it. On whose authority he is saying that? On what authority he is saying that? His own authority. He is saying, I am saying it. But how can we trust you? How can we believe what you are saying will happen? How can we trust you? Samshayatma pranashyati. Keep having these doubts. Samshayatma pranashyati. Because he says, there is no need for samshaya at all. If you still continue to have this samshaya, you will be destroyed. Now, this vehement declaration, this powerful declaration is based on logic and reason, which is given already. If you remember that entire logic and reason that he has given and then listen to this declaration, it's very convincing, very soothing, very motivating for a seeker. Because all of a sudden he is not waking up and saying, I am saying this. There's no need to have a doubt. After giving lot of logic and reason, only he is coming and saying, based on my declaration, you take it. What is it? At the last minute, you think of me, you will come to me. Remembering means not the physical, not the literal remembering. Krishna, Krishna, Rama, Rama, Shiva, not that remembering. Remembrance, smaran, here is used figuratively. not the actual remembrance. Then what does smaran here? Remembrance here means, remembrance means you lead that lifestyle. That is remembrance. That's your lifestyle. If you have led that lifestyle, it means you have been remembering me right through. Since you have been remembering me right through, whatever happens to the body, don't worry. You will continue to remember me and come to me. That's what he's saying. Because you have led that lifestyle, you do not know the samskara that you have created for you. The samskara means the change in the causal body. You do not understand that. You do not know that. That will continue and it will take you. That will continue and it will make you to remember me. Therefore, he says, don't have any doubt. And this is the style of the Shastra, the 4 types of learning. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Agama, Shastra. There is no doubt about it, is the Shastric way of teaching. And very rarely in Bhagavad Gita, he adopts this technique. See, Upanishads adopts only one technique. What? I am saying it, that's it. I am saying it, full stop. That is the Upanishadic style of teaching. That's why we don't study Upanishads a lot at all. Because there's no analysis. He simply makes statements. You have to do all your homework and understand those statements. In Bhagavad Gita, he goes on giving arguments. He goes on giving supporting reason, supporting logic. At times, he goes to the Agama style of teaching. Wherever he goes to the Agama style of teaching, that is very beautiful. Here is that case. What is that case? No doubt about it. On what basis you are saying no doubt about it, Krishna? What will Krishna say? I am telling you no. That's all the conviction is. Where is the conviction coming from? I am telling you no. It means you have already developed conviction. It means the logic and reason that he has already taught us has given enough conviction in the teaching. The logic and reason has given enough conviction in the teaching, and when the teacher supplements it by saying, it will work. There is no need to have any doubt about it. It's very satisfying. It's very satisfying. What is the satisfaction? I need not worry about what will happen after death and all and waste time. Simply do what I have to do. Simply do what I have to do now as guided by the Shastra. As told by the Shastra, as guided by the Shastra, all that I got to do is do it. You can't simply say do it, because the mind will come up with the doubts, and the doubts of the mind has to be answered. Logic and reason is always to convince the mind, because it is the mind that comes up with doubts. Mind always comes up with doubt, because the nature of the mind is to doubt. You go to one doctor, and then you will go to another doctor, and then another doctor. Still you will not be convinced. Or maybe Ayurveda I should go to, maybe Siddha medicine I should go to, or maybe Chinese medicine I have to go to. All that is left, African medicine, maybe I have to go to African medicine. Where will you? The mind doubts has no. The mind cannot stop doubting, because the very nature of the mind is samshaya, doubt. How to quieten this mind? The samshaya of the mind is very agitating, is very disturbing. It's not just the doubt. The doubt is very The doubt is very disturbing. The doubt is very agitating. It will not take you to, it will not allow you to do any meaningful action in any direction. Because doubt. இவ்வளோலாம் பண்ணி அது கடைசியில் ஃபெயிலியர் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா வேஸ்ட் ஆகிடும்ல சார் எல்லாம். I'm doing everything, I'm putting so much of effort and all that, and everything, supposing if it doesn't happen, it's a waste of effort, no sir. Here you will not ask all those questions. Why? Because in chapter 2 you have already studied neha vikramanasosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Verse number 40. Chapter 2, verse number 40. There is no such thing called kramanasham at all. There is no pratyavayam at all. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya. This dharma, little bit you practice. So all that is already explained. At one point of time, you get very irritated with Krishna, because he will not allow you to ask any doubt. Because any doubt you ask, he will say, this is already explained. This is already explained. This is already explained. Speaker out to polar. When we listen, they say, no, they don't call it as ears, no? They call it as speaker. I don't know why they call it as speaker, but so you can't keep asking all this. Why? Because he has already said it. Kramanasham doesn't exist. Action never goes. There is no such thing called wasted effort. Oh my God, what a knowledge it is. He's saying there is no such thing called wasted effort at all. What are you talking, Arjuna? Kramana. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate. And what is pratyavaya? Sin. Pratyavaya is sin. If you don't do pratyavaya, means very simple. If you don't do what you are supposed to do, it is sinful. If you do what you are supposed to do, no merit will come to you, because you have done what you ought to do. That's all. That is pratyavaya. Beautiful it is. If you don't do what you are supposed to do, you will face the consequences. Okay, if you do what you are supposed to do, what happens then? No Nobel Prize will be given to you. No certification will be given to you that you have done something very extraordinary. Both my children, I brought them up very nicely, sir. Pannalana pratyavayam. Pannirundha, you have done what you are supposed to do. No certification will be. So kramanasham doesn't exist at all. Therefore, efforts, there is no such thing called wasted effort. For the law of karma is very clear. The law of karma says there is no such thing called wasted effort. For whatsoever reasons, the result is getting postponed. And that is getting postponed also because of your own past. Even there, nobody is postponing it. For whatsoever reasons, if you think the result is not coming to you, the effort didn't go waste. The effort doesn't go waste. The result is getting postponed, and that postponement of the result is also because of your own making, because of your own past. Now, certain things has to be experienced. So all this logic and reason has been given already. After giving all this logic and reason, now he is telling Arjuna, there is no doubt about this. There is no doubt about this. What is no doubt about me? Madbhavam. Throughout your lifetime, if you have been thinking of me, at the time of death also you will be thinking of me. For whatsoever you think during your lifetime is what you will think. Is what you will think at the time of death. Therefore, simply do what is it that ought to be done right now. Not to worry about prayana kali. But here He is talking about that Prayana Kale, very, very, very beautiful line of thought here in this 8th chapter. I'm repeating again. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about Jivan Mukti. Even in 8th chapter, he is going to conclude by saying, don't waste time in all this thing, come to Jivan Mukti. He's going to say that again. At the end of the same chapter, he's going to say that again. But he's conceding, he's accepting the fact that there are people who make errors in the spiritual path. And those errors will not take you away from the spiritual path, that those errors that you make will not disqualify you from liberation. You will continue. Madbhavam. You will continue and get it. This is verse number 5. It's an assurance. That's all. When you say it's an assurance, means having given logic and reason, he is convinced that you can believe him now. Supposing in 2nd chapter, if you have said, there is no doubt about this, answer in Armikla, how can you say, my answer is perfect? First, you have to give logic and reason to your answer and then claim this is the right answer. So after doing all that, he comes and says, there is no reason to doubt about it. What is there is no reason to doubt about it? Direct your thoughts while acting in the world. Direct your thoughts to the self while acting in the world. If you are doing that, that thought will be the last thought and you will reach my being. Why I am giving such a detailed elaboration? Because next 3 verses is going to talk about the same thing. Again and again and again, is going to repeat the same thing. 5 is saying the same thing. 6 is going to elaborate it. 7 is going to say it. And then 8, he will talk about those who have attained Jivan Mukti. You feel like asking Krishna again, tell us very clearly. What moksha do you want us to follow? Yeah. Do you want us to follow Krama Mukti or do you want to follow Jivan Mukti? What do you want us to do? Because he keeps saying, we'll read verse number 6.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha.
Of whatever being one thinks at the end while leaving the body, to that alone one goes. O Kaunteya, because of constantly thinking of that being. Yam, yam, of whatever, whoever, of whatever being one thinks at the end while leaving the body, to that alone one goes. O Arjuna, why? Because of constantly thinking about that only. Another beautiful elaboration of the law of karma. He's continuing the same thing. Another elaboration on this law of karma. So what is he saying? Previous verse, you keep thinking of me, assurance is given. What? You will come to me. Now what is he saying? If you don't think of me, whatsoever you are thinking, you will go to that. Previous verse, he said, if you think of me, you will come to me. Yam yam vapi. They don't think of me. Now, okay, if you are not thinking of me, what will happen to you? whatsoever you are thinking, you will go there. If you are thinking, oh, I didn't write the will properly, I don't know whether my children will handle the wealth properly. If you are worried about wealth at the time of prayana kale, where will you go? Seeking wealth, worrying about wealth. Where will you go? You will be born worried about wealth, because at the time of leaving, you are worried. Okay, you are not worried about wealth, but you are worried about those two children are useless, sir. At least I thought I can do something to my grandchildren. And I am dying now. What will happen to the grandchildren? You will come back and continue to torture them in another form. I'm not saying, he's saying that. He's saying, because, oh Kaunteya, because you are constantly thinking of that only, you will come back to that. Since you are constantly thinking about that, where will you come back? You will come back. You will come back to that only. So, the reincarnation is dependent upon the reincarnation. First is, there is reincarnation. If you accept that there is reincarnation, if you understand that there is reincarnation, you will be very careful now. You will be very responsible now. A person is so careless and so irresponsible because he is thinking reincarnation means going to another. If I don't go to Taj, I go to ITC Grand Chola. He is thinking like that. Reincarnation means what? So one of the responsible factors in life that makes you, that knowledge that makes you very responsible in life is the understanding of reincarnation. Now we have accepted that there is reincarnation. We have understood that there is reincarnation. Very difficult is to cross that delusion and accept there is a reincarnation. What is reincarnation means? What is reincarnation means? Ganesh. All that you are doing now, you will forget this and you will go and do, you will start all over again. You are doing so many things now, isn't it? Doing so many things now. You will die, forget everything and start all over again, continue to do the same thing. Again, go through that cycle. Forget it. Start all over again. Start all over again. If you understand the cycle, what happens? The proof of understanding reincarnation is no attachment. You can't understand reincarnation and still be attached. Both won't go together. If you have understood reincarnation, you will not be attached, because you know that as you are attached to so many things now, you have been attached in the past also. What happened to all that? What happened to all that? You don't even remember that. And thank God you don't remember. Yeah. Thank God we don't remember. Now what we are doing, we are continuing to get attached to so many things now. Leave everything. It means what? You look at yourself as to what you are doing. It looks so. Reincarnation makes you understand the futility of certain things. Reincarnation makes you to understand the futility of certain things. Reincarnation makes you understand that it's not worth getting attached to anything. It's not worth meaningful to call anything as mine. It's not worth it. The idea of the knowledge of reincarnation makes you to understand that. Yoga Vasishta starts like that. In Yoga Vasishta, how many fathers I have had in the past, O Dasharatha? In the long line of fathers that I have had, you are one. How many mothers I have had in the past, and how many more mothers I am going to have in the future. In the long chain of mother, you are one. It's a junction, he says. Life is a junction. Life is like the flooded river, he says. Life is like the flooded river. What is flooded river means? All sorts of things float. In the flooded river, all sorts of things float. Two logs of wood travel together for a period of time. In the flooded river, two logs of wood travel together for a period of time only to get separated. So the traveling together is wonderful, meaningful. At the same time, there is no permanency to it. There is no reality to it. The traveling together, there is no reality to it. Why? Because it's going to get separated. What brought these two together, God only knows. What is making them to travel together and what is making them part their own ways? Reincarnation. So first thing about reincarnation is you understand reincarnation, you will be very objective, you will be very detached now. That is as far as reincarnation is concerned. Second is, you can decide what you want. Reincarnation. The second indicator, the second point of reincarnation is you can decide what you want. You can be born in a family of the wise yogis. As he said in the 7th chapter. He said you can be born in a family. He gave options, no? You can choose. Option 1. He gave a menu card. Choose what you want. You want to do this? You want this? You want this? Ah, yes, I want it. Look at the rate. Look at the price. Pay the price, you will. Pay the price, you will get it. Oh, price. I thought it comes for. I never knew it is so expensive. I never knew I have to pay a price and all. I simply thought God is a very compassionate God. All that I got to do to God is what? See, compassionate God means he will not compassionate doctor. Means what? He will treat you for free. Correct? He is giving you the medical bill and still treating you. What you will say is a professional doctor. Correct? Huh? What is a professional doctor and compassionate doctor? Shailesh, difference purida. Treatment is done. Both treats. Compassionate doctor means no fees. Divine doctor, na, he will give you money and send you home. Yeah, that is the divine doctor. Who is the divine doctor? Not only he will treat you for free, for the next 6 months for indulgences, he will give money also and send you home. He is our divine, our God. Yeah, that is God. Okay. I'm not asking for that, but at least treat for free. Third doctor. Who's the third doctor? He tells you, okay, these are all the diseases. This is how it will get cured. Pay the advance. What a cruel doctor. Huh? Law of karma is that cruel doctor. You may agree, you may not agree. You may accept, you may not accept. There is no weak emotion at all here. There is no weak sympathy at all here. There is no weak emotion at all here. Why? If this is what you want, pay the price. Then all the faith and trust and conviction in the God goes out. So second thing that he is saying here is reincarnation. You can decide that. And if you have to decide that, what you got to do? If you live a particular way of life, you will get it. What is that particular way of life called? That particular way of life, the Shastra recommends is the sadhana, the tapas. If you lead a life of sadhana, if you lead a life of tapas, that is the price you pay for that. That is law of karma. That's why we said this verse talks about the law of karma. Ram Tirtha puts it very differently. He says, who doesn't want to be a Jesus Christ? He asks. Who doesn't like to become a Jesus Christ? Who doesn't want to be a Jesus Christ? Everybody. Everybody. And what is the price to become a Jesus Christ? The crucifixion is the price, he says. Crucifixion is the price to become the Jesus Christ. No. Is there any other way? Avoiding crucifixion? Is there a way by which crucifixion can be avoided and still I'll become Jesus Christ? Yeah, there is another way. What is another way? Punaha api, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam. You will keep going through the cycle again and again and again. What is your problem if you go through this again and again, sir? What is your problem, Krishna? Why are you torturing us? What is your problem if you go through it again and again and again? Where you need not suffer at all, you are suffering. That compassion, that love, that affection, that understanding. Where there is no need to suffer, you suffering. Where there is no need to be agitated at all, you are being agitated. Where you are supposed to be all blissful, you are all misery. So, he sees the worthiness and sees the person not recognizing that worthiness. He sees the worthiness, he sees the potential, and also helps us to get back to that. Therefore, this verse number 6 is a direct talk about law of karma. He is not saying I am saying about law of karma. He is not making that statement. He is not saying I am talking about law of karma in this verse. But the way he is saying about it is a very direct reference to the law of karma. What is it? Of whatever being one thinks at the end while leaving the body, to that being alone, he goes. Why? Because of his constant thinking. Because of his constant thinking. What is law of karma? 3 words. The law of karma means 3 words. Sanchita, prarabdha, agami. Sanchita karma, prarabdha karma, agami karma. Sanchita means the total. Prarabdha means of the total something that has to be attended to first. That is prarabdha. Agami means that which is waiting in the queue. Prarabdha means that which has to be attended to first is prarabdha. Agami means coming. Ready. Ready for next, that is agami. Sanchita means the total. Prarabdha means something that you have to immediately happen. You go with some disease, doctor will say, you can wait for 2 years. That is agami. Meaning what? It definitely is going to come. Definitely in 2 years, you can't do anything to get rid of it and all. It will come. That is agami. It is there. Prarabdha means straight away go get into the ICU. Don't even breathe. Go get into ICU straight away. That is something that needs immediate attention, fructification. Agami means it's ready. The pressure is already built up. That is agami. Sanchita is the total. Now, what is he saying here? At the time of death, there is a maturity. Fixed deposit lo potu vechirukom. Yeah, there is a maturity. And that maturity will happen when? At the time of death. And that maturity that happens at the time of death will directs your next janma. Means the next body. As you are exhausting your prarabdha and as you are going to experience your agami, what are you doing? You keep adding up to the sanchita also. You keep adding up to the sanchita not knowingly. And we saw that already 2 weeks back. You don't know it doesn't mean you are free from it. I have forgotten about it doesn't mean you are free from it. Oh, na loan vaanganade maranditten sir abdinna. Shankar, correct? Loan vaangana. Oh, I borrowed. I forgot that I borrowed. Since I forgot that I borrowed, you should exempt me from interest. And God also will say, you will be interest free. Yeah? That's what we go and ask God. In all our prayers, what are we asking? Pray able to follow? And God says, oh, adukku innor vatti. If you forget, not only you borrowed, you didn't pay the interest. And you forgot that you have to pay the interest in double interest on that, isn't it? Yeah. One of the persons here, one day I was sitting and talking to him a few years back. He was talking to me about different types of vaddi. Vaddi means interest. Meter vaddi, double vaddi, raja vaddi. I said, what is vaddi means interest? How can you borrow and say, I forgot? Law of karma says that is sanchita. You go on borrowing and you forget it. And just because you have forgotten about it, you will not be exempt from it. What will happen? It will keep manifesting. It will keep manifesting. To whom it will manifest? To whom it will manifest? To you only it will manifest, not to somebody else. Since you are the doer, to whom it will manifest? To you only it will manifest. At that point of time, the person turns back and says, I didn't do anything to deserve this, sir. I have not done anything wrong at all in my life. யாருக்கும் நான் ஒரு புழு பூச்சி கூட கெடுதல் பண்ணதே இல்லை சார். I have not done any harm at all in my life. Gautam Buddha will feel he has to prostrate to you because the way you talk about how non-violent you are, Gautam Buddha will feel ashamed. But why it is happening to me? It's against the law of karma. Against the law of karma. What is the law of karma? Thinking of whatever object, you get that. Being always steeped in that thought. At the time of death is adding here. So how do you understand law of karma first? First you remove the sentence at the time of death. First you understand the law first, and then you add at the time of death also. So how do we read it first? Thinking of whatever object, that very object one attains, being always steeped in that thought. Thinking of whatever object. Object means being included. Object means object and beings. Thinking of whatever object or being, that very object or being one attains. Being always steeped in that thought. You are so steeped in that thought as you think, so you become. Karma, at the time of death also it continues. At the time of death also it continues. That's what Prayana Kali is talking about, the same law of karma. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. Tam tam eva veti. He attains that situation alone. So what decide is not the final thought, or the final thought is the resultant. This is where law of karma takes it to the height. The final thought will be a resultant thought, and that resultant will take you. It's not just the last thought as in what is the force to that last, what is the seed to that last thought, the resultant. So you should remember the last thought means, Venkatachalam, are you able to follow? The last thought means the resultant thought. Why do we say the resultant thought? What is the logic and reason for it to say resultant thought? The senses are failing, isn't it? The senses are failing. The mind is failing. Where are you conscious to think about a thought then? Correct? Where are you conscious to think about a thought then? Dharma Shastra talks about how should a person prepare oneself for death. That also they talk about. Don't worry about that and all. That is too much. We can't even digest that. But for whatever it's worth, I'm telling you. How antakale, how should a person prepare? Antakale, beautifully they describe. Huh? When I read that, I thought it's insane to write a book like that. The dying person should do all this. Huh? The dying person should do this. What should the dying person do? It says, have a shower. What? Before dying. Have a shower. Do the Pundarika according to the denomination. Do the Pundarika according to your denomination. Sit erect. Keep thinking of God and die. This is the way a person should die. Does anybody die like can anybody die like that? Because when you do that, the thoughts go into so many other. Then what is this prayana kale, where at the time of death you are so unconscious? It's not the last thought, it is the resultant thought. What he means by smaran, what he means by last thought is the resultant thought. So the resultant force, even if you are unconscious, it will direct you to that embodiment. The resultant thought, even at the time of dying, you become unconscious, the resultant force will carry you and perfectly it will put you wherever you ought to go. Why? Because you have already ordered for it. You have already asked for it. Asking for it is the wrong word. You have already ordered that. And whatsoever you have ordered, law of karma will not make a mistake at all. Yeah. Howsoever crowded the restaurant is, law of karma will not mix. Law of karma will not mix and give. So on the table, sir, law of karma will not say that. Whatever you have ordered will come to you only. Sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Therefore, at all the time, be soaked in this thought. All the time, be soaked in this thought. That you soaked in this thought, the resultant force will take you in that direction. It will take you in that direction. Literally, what does it mean? When any worry comes, when any anxiety comes, you understand what? This worry and anxiety is because you have ordered for it in the past. Delivery has happened. You have ordered for it in the past and it has been delivered to you. Whatever you order only will come to you. And don't get angry at the delivery. And don't get angry at the delivery person. It's like getting angry at the postman. What can he do? Whatever letter comes to you, he will only come and give that. No, how can you get angry at the postman? So, first thing is what? Whenever any worry, anxiety, tension, stress, etc. comes, what do you understand? Your order has been delivered. Now order பண்ணது தான் வந்திருக்குது. அதிலே 50% of the problem is solved. In that itself, 50% of the problem gets solved. Because the moment you take responsibility, your mind reacts very differently. The moment you put the responsibility on somebody else, the same mind reacts very differently. Situation is the same. Where do you place the responsibility? Vedanta says, for whatever you are responsible, don't put it on others. For your order, you are responsible. So take it. How you should receive your order? We have already seen that. How you should receive your order? Prasada buddhi. When it is delivered to you, how do you receive the delivery? Prasada buddhi. And then you do what? Because of the right thing that I am doing now, I can handle this. The strength, the energy, the conviction comes to handle that. Why? Because you are doing the right thing now. Therefore, in order to handle anything in life, you need not worry about the delivery. You need to do the right thing now. Antakale. Nothing will happen to you at the Antakale. Why? Because Antakale, the last thought equals resultant. Understand it like that. The last thought is the resultant thought. Figuratively, we say it is your thought. It is not a conscious individual thought. The last thought is the resultant thought. And the resultant thought is your responsibility, because all the individual thoughts that you have been having throughout the life is what result in that. Therefore, who is responsible for the resultant? You are responsible for your resultant, even though you may not be specifically having that last thought. Even though you may not be specifically having that last single thought, the resultant takes you there. This is the general principle. Whatever one thinks at the time of death, reincarnation happens accordingly. How you should understand the word think here? You should understand it as the resultant of all your thinking. The last thought is the resultant effect of all your thinking. And what is thinking means? And what is thinking means? Here, thinking means not the logic, reason, and analysis. Thinking here means the attitude with which actions are done. The attitude with which actions are done. It is attitude. When you are remembering God, your attitude will be right all the time. So instead of saying keep the right attitude, in this from 7 to 12, he speaks the language of devotion. And what is the language of devotion? The language of devotion is Ishvara Smaranam, remembering God, remembering me. Remembering. Remember implies a conscious effort on your part. Remembrance implies a conscious effort on your part. So you are making a conscious effort on your part to constantly keep thinking of God. In Karma Yoga, he will talk about it as the right attitude. In Bhakti Yoga, he will talk about it as remembrance of God. When we go to 13th chapter, he will talk about it as the right knowledge. All means the same. Different people, different words are used. To the Karma Yogi, it will be spoken about as attitude. To the Bhakti Yogi, it will be spoken about as remembrance of God. To a Jnana Yogi, it will be spoken about as the right knowledge. All three are one and the same. They are not distinct and different. Which word will impress you depends upon what type of a yogi you are. Karma Yogi will be impressed by the word attitude. He will not worry about the word remembrance. A Bhakti Yogi will be inspired by the word remembrance. A Jnana Yogi will be remembered by the word understanding. But all means the same. As you think, so you become. Think of me, you come to me. Verse number 5. Verse number 6. Think of the world, you go to the world. The same law. The same law. As you think, so you become. In verse number 5, think of me, you come to me. In verse number 6, if you are not thinking of me, you are thinking about something else. You are thinking of something else. To that, you will go. To that, you will go. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. The word smaran here, it means thinking, it means remembrance. Thinking here doesn't mean thinking as in the logical sense. Thinking here refers to remembrance. Again, remembrance has a conscious effort. At the prayana kale, the last minute or the last second, the last thought becomes the resultant, because the body has already become, the body has started to lose the vitality and all that. Therefore, what is thinking? Who's thinking? The last thought is the resultant thought. The last thought is the resultant thought. And that resultant thought determines the gati, which is going to talk about. Gati means the direction. Sadgati they say, Durgati they say, Shukla Gati, all that is going to talk about later. In the same chapter only all this is coming. Gati means the path. What determines your gati? The resultant. And what determines the resultant? How you have been conducting yourself in your life. So, if you want the right gati, if you want the right resultant, what you should do? Do not postpone. Do not postpone remembrance of God. Do not postpone developing the right attitude. Do not postpone developing the right knowledge. Do it. Do it now. 9:30 ki start pannalama, sir. Because half an hour, something else I have to do. I'll quickly finish that and come. Millions and millions of reasons will come to postpone. Millions and millions of justification will come to postpone. All that you got to do is not to postpone. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam yajatyante kalevaram. Tam tame vaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Tad bhava bhavitaha. Absorbed in the thought of that being, they go to that. Previous was Matbhavam, my being. Here, Tatbhavam. Previous was Matbhavam. Matbhavam, my being, they come to me. Here, Tatbhavam. So, whatever else they will go there. You will also tell Arjuna, next verse is going to conclude, which we will take up next class. Tasmat. Therefore, you will also therefore, do the right thing today, which we have already concluded. Yeah. We are always one step ahead of Krishna. Yeah. Yeah. The smart Sarveshu Kaleshu is going to conclude tomorrow. Sorry, next week is going to conclude, not tomorrow. In the tomorrow. Even though I will be here tomorrow, yeah. Monday morning, very busy, sir. How can you come for Gita class? Monday morning, isn't it? So next Sunday. Like a joke, I keep saying, the whole world will be very relaxed on Sunday. We will be maximum busy on Sunday. Why? Because rest of the 6 days we are very free. Punit, you know that, no? From Monday to Saturday we are very free. I'll be looking at the phone. Will anybody call me? Will anybody send a message? Sunday morning very busy. Why? Because no wonder. You should not do it like this. That's what he said. Don't do it like this. The smart Sarveshu Kalesh is going to conclude like beautiful conclusion. Because how much I have explained, Arjuna. The smart Sarveshu Kalesh. All that we are going to see next week. So for today, a bhakta should not misunderstand that he is exempted from law of karma. Bhakta always believes, devotees of God always believes that they belong to a different species, they belong to a different class, that whatever they do, God will erase all that. My devotee can do anything, isn't it? That is Hiranyakashipu, not Narayana. Narayana will say whether you are my devotee or not my devotee, I really don't care. Even if you don't utter the word Narayana also, I don't bother, as long as you are doing the right thing. So the beauty here is what? A bhakta is also bound by the same law. And don't think bhakti can, just because you are doing bhakti, devotion, don't think that God will come and erase பண்ணி விட்டுருவாருன்னு. Because the misunderstanding of bhakti at always is what? You can do whatever you can do and God will, you can do whatsoever you want to do, you can do. God will come and liberate you of all that. Huh? Yes, he will liberate you of all that if you do the right thing. What is the right thing? Mam anusmara. If you keep thinking of me. With this, we conclude verse number 6. Next session, we move on to verse number 7 onwards. Do you have anything?
Yes, Ramasubramanian and Mala have posted there.
Posted. Ramasubramanian. Will the spirit know that liberation has been attained? Will the individual know that liberation has been attained? Yes. As you are alive, you will know that you have attained liberation, and that liberation cannot be disturbed by death. It's not that you will know liberation at the time of death. You will understand that you are liberated now, and dying has got nothing to do with liberation. Is it okay, Ram Subramanian? That is the first clarification.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Mala. Every situation in life is symbolized to reflect our mental status, including the Swarga, Naraka. Is birth and rebirth to something on that line? Birth and rebirth is that which will give you a sharira to experience that. Again, I repeat. Birth here refers to the birth of the sharira, and you need a sharira to experience that. For without the sharira means the gross body. Without the gross body, the subtle body will not be able to experience anything at all. As in the state of deep sleep, where there is no gross body available, nothing happens there. So for you to experience the mental status, you need a body. That availability of the body is birth. Leaving this body is death. So mental status experience, for the mental status to experience, you need a body. Is it okay, Mala? Yeah. In some ways, animals are not attached. They do not have an intellect but have mind. That mind's emotions could attach them, but they are not. But why are they given lower status? Very good. Animals are better than human beings because animals are also attached, human beings are also attached. Correct, sir. Animal have a body, human have a body. That is a comparative study Mala is doing. Animal have a body, human have a physical body. Tick mark. Animal have mind, we also have mind. Tick mark. Animals have emotions, we also have emotions. Tick mark. Animals get attached, we also get attached. Tick mark. Last point, we should not call them as lower, sir. Why? Because animals get detached, we don't get detached at all. Then how are we to call animals as lower status? Mala, correct? Huh? Animals don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. They are not doing anything. Animals are not the doers. human being is superior because human beings are kartas, doers. Animals exist, they are not the doers. That fundamental difference you should understand. Able to follow? Animals are not doers. That's why there is no karmas that comes out. Human beings are doers. Therefore, human beings are superior. Because of this one particular thing, the karta. The doer has a choice to do it rightly. Doer means you have a choice. What is the choice you have? To do it, not to do it, or to do it otherwise. Choice means three. Are you able to follow? Choice no more. You can do it. You may not do it. Or you may do it the otherwise. The other way. If I say clap. I said clap, no. Prasad, I said clap. Nobody is clapping. Clap. You choose to clap. You choose not to clap. Or you can do otherwise. Why clap? I will whistle, sir, and you can whistle also. No. You have a choice. This is the doer. This is what is meant by the choice. Are you able to understand what do you mean by choice? And what directs this choice? What is directing this choice? Is it the likes and dislikes or the buddhi strengthened by Shastra? What is guiding the choice? That brings about all the differences. Is it okay, Mala? Purinjada? இந்த எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க இல்லையா? கிளாப்னா you can clap, you can choose to clap, you can choose not to clap. மூணாவதா பண்ணலாம். What is it? Now whistle தான் அடிப்பேன், you can whistle also. This is the choice. Are you able to follow? This is the choice. Ram Subramaniam again. What are you asking again? In relation to the cycle of birth and death, there are 7 births, janmas. Ram Subramaniam. Adalla hearsay. No answer for this question. Because it doesn't make any. Yaro sonanga sir nalla, how can we answer? He's saying somebody said me, my grandmother told me, na, how can we answer? Bhagavad Gita sonnadhilende we can answer. Correct, Ram Subramaniam. But still your question, I'll answer. What is it? In relation to the cycle of birth and death, word of mouth, hearsay, says there are 7 births. Ellarkum 7 janma irukudhu sir. Is this fully baseless? To what extent it is correct, true? It is baseless, completely baseless. Because on what basis you know that to say that you have only 7 janmas is to know what your sanchita is. You cannot say it like that. You cannot say 7 janmas, you cannot say 70 janmas, you cannot say 700 janmas, you can never quantify it, but you can only say it is there. You can only say it is there. How do you know that? By the way that you are acting, you will know that. You follow? So baseless it is to say there are ellaru 7 janma irukku sir ellarkum. It is baseless. Some statement said in a Puranic story in a very narrow context. It's not a concept. I'm not saying they are wrong. It's the context in which it is said. Yeah. Ram Subramaniam. Mala again. Swami Dayanand Saraswati of golden days did that, according to his biography. Very good. I didn't know that. Very good. Swami Dayanand Saraswati of golden days. Golden days or golden days or golden days. Preparation. There are quite a few who have done that. They sit.
Yeah. The previous Swami, In his biography, I read that he washed, I mean, he had a shower, did some kriya and whatever.
Correct. Abdullah Saun. That's how we should die. What a way to die. If I don't have a shower, somebody will shower my body. Yeah. If I shower and if I put everything and sit, why will anybody have to do? How much time I am saving for them? All that they have to do to me is what? All that they have to do to me is what? Next minute they can pack me off, isn't it? Next minute my body can be packed off and disposed, and they can come back and do whatever they have to do. Correct, Mala. Narayanji. From seeing the life of a child prodigy, we understand that you begin from where you ended last. But you mentioned that you start all over again. Kindly reconcile. Yes, these child prodigies, 98% of the time people start with a clean slate. 98% of the time people start with a clean slate, meaning forgetting. A few cases, overlap will be there for a short period of time. When that overlapping is there for a short period of time, we call it as a child prodigy. Not for everybody it continues like that. It happens to that negligible, insignificant minority. But still it proves. What is it? There is the reincarnation. Second, even in the child prodigy, if the child doesn't make an effort in the present to continue that, what will happen? It will simply disappear. Correct? Even in the child prodigy, that person has to, that individual child prodigy has to make an effort in the present to keep it going. If he doesn't make an effort to keep it going in the present, what happens? Very soon it will get exhausted and start something different. And when we say you will start all over again, it means what? Breathing, crying, crawling, turning, crawling, walking, talking, primary, kindergarten, primary school, middle school, high school, university. You look at all that you have done and you realize that you have to start. Again, you have to start from A, B, C, D. Oh my God. That's a bit scary. In that sense, it is starting all over again. Is it okay, Narayanji?
Yeah, but the knowledge and ignorance, whatever we end now, it will begin. We'll start from there.
The karmas, how wise you are and how ignorant you are, that continues. But in that sharira, you have to start all over again as in what somebody will take 15 years to learn, you will learn it in 3 years. But definitely there is an effort to learn again. In that sense.
Thank you.
Start all over again doesn't mean your karmas will, the karmas will get wiped out. The punya papa karmas will get wiped out. No. That is not set. It doesn't get, that will not get wiped out at all. Is it okay? Yeah. Viji. Oh, all of a sudden from where she came? Okay. She's saying, I have a question not related to today's class. May I ask? Please ask, Viji.
Yeah.
Just to hear your voice, not to answer the question.
Okay.
Yes, Viji.
The Vedas are revelations and not a part of human mind.
Yes.
But invariably, almost all the Upanishads are a dialogue between a guru and a shishya. So how do I understand this?
If you can you type it out, Vijay? I'm not able to hear you. The voice is very, yeah, please type it out.
Just a moment.
Yeah. We'll wait for a few seconds for her to.
Ramasubramanian has posted on it as a clarification.
Oh, okay. Before she writes, I will take up Ram Subramanian.
Sir, yes, sir. So thank you for the earlier responses. So
Yeah.
I'll just read out, sir. There are two other parts to each of the earlier questions.
Yes.
So the first one, the other one is along with the spirit question, right? I had also asked.
Yeah.
So since Brahman is everywhere, why do we
Yes.
separately say Samaloka and in the same place as Brahman or Krishna?
No. There, we are not talking about Brahman there. There we talk about God with a form. We are not talking about Brahman there.
Okay.
In the same loka, we are not talking about Brahman there. The moment the word Brahman comes in, it is Ayujyam only.
Okay.
Complete merger.
Okay.
There I was referring to different ideas of mokshas people have. Like, I live in the same place where God lives. Instead of living in this world of ignorant people, I live in the place where God lives. There is a concept of moksha like that. Another concept of moksha is same loka. Same, I see God. Another concept of moksha is samipya. I am closer to God. Another concept of moksha is I become a part of God. I become an amsha of God. Krishna throughout the Bhagavad Gita says all these are preparatory stages. Moksha means sayujya.
Okay.
That is the only one thing. Sayujya means the complete merge. Where the two ceases to exist.
Okay.
Okay, Ram Subramanian.
Okay, sir. So in the case of Samaloka, places like Vaikuntha, Kailasha, all these places, are they applicable or?
Yes. It is applicable to that places.
Okay.
You can call it as Vaikuntha. If you are a worshipper of Vishnu, you can call it as Shivaloka. If you are a worshipper of Narayana, you can call it Goloka. If you are a worshipper of Krishna, because every god has their own loka. Every gods have their own loka. Ganesha has his own loka. So you can go there. If you are a worshipper of Ganesha, that is not moksha.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah, last question with Vijay.
Sir, one more question, sir. So,
yes.
With Sri Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, he is acknowledged as Jivan Mukta by disciples and by the world in general. So
Yes.
how do the disciples and how do the spiritual seekers and the world in general, how do they know that Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is Jivan Mukta, and how?
Based on Ramana's declaration, you can never know. You can never know. Supposing if I say today I am self-realized, you can never know that. You have to sir sonar namba vendida ver valiye illa. There is no way that the disciples can know or prove it. It is just by the sheer declaration of that master, and we take it based on that person's declaration. It is that master's declaration. Are you able to follow?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Is Vijay saying? It is said that Vedas are revelations, not product of human mind. Invariably, all Upanishads are dialogues between Guru and Shishya. How do I understand this? The one who has woken up, as it were, trying to try the person who is not yet woken up. That is the conversation. Who is the Guru? A Guru is one who has woken up. Shishya is one who is sleeping. Now, the person who has woken up is trying to wake up the person who is sleeping. That is the conversation between Guru and Shishya. Now, what is the Shishya asleep to? What is the Shishya asleep to? The Shishya is asleep to the fact and has a misunderstanding. He is asleep to the fact and he has a misunderstanding. What is the misunderstanding? I am a limited, constricted, restricted individual in sorrow and suffering. What is the misunderstanding? I am a limited person, restricted, constricted, living in sorrow, living in suffering, insecurity, fear. All this is the misunderstanding that the disciple has about oneself. Now, what does the Guru come and do? Guru is not saying, I will confer, I will give you security. The Guru will not come and say, I will make you peaceful. Guru says, what you are thinking about you is wrong, for you do not know who you are, what you are. That is revelation. It's not a product of human mind. You follow? So they come and say, you do not know who you are, what you are. All that you need to do is what? Recognize who you are. That recognition is not a new addition to you. It's not that you are that and you become this. Even when you say, I am restricted, constricted individual, who are you? You are Brahman. Even now, we are Brahman. Even now, you are Brahman. Even now, you are not this individual that you think you are. The difference is what? It has not yet become a understanding. So what does the Guru try to do? How to make you have this understanding? And what is not a product of human mind? What is not a product of human mind? You are Paripurna is not a product of human mind. That's all it is. Are you able to follow? You are Paripurna is not a product of human mind. You are Apurna is the product of human mind. To put it very simply, you are Apurna is a product of human mind. You are Purnam is the revelation. So what we misunderstand, Shastra comes and clears it up. So the Purnatvam is not a product of human mind. Apurnatvam is the misunderstanding of human mind. Are you okay, Vijay? Yes, correct.
I listened to it again.
Yeah, correct. With this, we conclude for today and we continue next week.